You know, in the world of tarot, power is a huge theme. And when we're talking about our day-to-day lives, that power is held by the four kings. But what does that power really look like? Is it a kind, protective hand guiding you, or is it the iron fist of a total tyrant? Today, we're going to dive into the two faces of these powerful rulers. So let's start with a big question. Yeah, you've got major cards like the Emperor that represent this huge, overarching power. But in the context of our daily lives, the kings are the ones who are really in charge. They're the final word, the culmination of all the energy in their suit. To really get a handle on their power, we have to look at what they stand for. These kings aren't just pictures on a card. They embody the absolute mastery of their element, whether that's the fire of wands, the emotion of cups, the intellect of swords, or the grounded wealth of pentacles. A great way to think about them is like they're mini emperors, each one ruling their own little kingdom. They've reached the absolute peak. They're done with learning. Now they're in a state of pure command. They don't just understand their domain, they are their domain. And this right here, this is the core of what a king is all about. On one hand, you've got this awesome, protective, strategic leader. But on the other, that shadow side can creep in, and he becomes controlling, authoritarian, and just plain destructive. It is a razor-thin line between leadership and tyranny.
All right, so who are these four rulers anyway? Let's meet them one by one and see how their totally distinct personalities can shape everything from our jobs to our relationships.
Okay, this table is a super handy cheat sheet. You can see right away the King of Wands is all about that charisma, driving our careers forward. The King of Cups, he's the ruler of the heart, all things emotions and relationships. Then you have the King of Pentacles, the master of the material world, your finances, your security. And finally, the King of Swords, who rules the mind with pure logic and justice. First up, the King of Wands. This guy is the natural-born leader, the one who can get everyone fired up with just one speech. He's incredibly loyal, and he expects that same loyalty in return. So if you see him in a reading, it might be a sign that it's time to make a huge career move, or maybe even pack your bags and start a new adventure. Next, we have the King of Cups. He's all heart. He's that emotionally intelligent guide. You know, the counselor, the artist, the compassionate boss. He represents a really deep understanding of people, offering this protective kind of love and a sense of real fulfillment. He's a sign that your emotional world is totally in a good place. Then there's the King of Pentacles, the master of the physical world. He's not about big, flashy speeches. Nope, he's all about building lasting security through solid plans and smart investments. Think of him as the ultimate provider. He's a sign that stability and real support are on their way. And finally, we have the King of Swords. Man, this guy represents the raw power of intellect and truth. He's super direct, sometimes so direct he can seem a little harsh, but his judgment is always based on fairness and logic. He just cuts right through all the noise to get to the truth. But you know, power is a really tricky thing. So what happens when these powerful rulers totally lose their way? What does it look like when their authority gets corrupted and flips into its shadow self? Okay, this is where it gets really juicy. When a king card shows up reversed in a reading, it's a major red flag. All those amazing positive qualities we just talked about, well, they've been twisted into their complete toxic opposites. Just look at the difference here. The leader, who was once protective and commanding, is now controlling and manipulative. The stable presence becomes totally unstable. The very thing that made him strong is now what makes him so dangerous. So let's break it down, king by king, and see exactly how this shadow power shows up for each of them, because each one falls from grace in a way that's totally unique to his own kingdom. Let's kick things off with the King of Wands. When all that creative fire he has gets out of control, it turns into harshness, infidelity, and just creating problems for everyone. That charisma that used to inspire people, now it just creates chaos. His inspirational spark just becomes impulsive and totally directionless. He doesn't have a vision, he can't get anyone to follow him, and that fierce loyalty he once commanded, it gets shattered by his own infidelity. He just becomes harsh and severe. Now for the King of Cups. When his emotional world is out of balance, that deep love he has turns into pure selfishness. And that creates all these hidden dangers in relationships. His incredible emotional intelligence becomes a tool for manipulation. He has zero empathy, he completely detaches from his relationships, and he acts only out of his own selfish needs, causing huge problems for anyone who depends on him.
The reversed King of Swords? Man, this one can be really destructive. That brilliant shark mind that was once a tool for justice is now a weapon used to dominate and control people.
His fair judgment becomes cold, hard cruelty. His intellect is used for lying and controlling behavior. Honestly, when this king shows up reversed, it's a pretty clear warning that things could have a really bad ending. And last but not least, the King of Pentacles. His fall is all about the corruption of the material world. The security he once built is now replaced by greed, and he's not above some illegal activities to get what he wants. His careful financial planning turns into total irresponsibility and just pure greed. He becomes stingy, hoarding everything for himself, and he might even get into some shady dealings or corruption to get more, which of course leads to major conflicts. Phew. Okay, so we've met the good guys and their evil twins. Now, how do you actually apply all this knowledge when a king pops up in one of your readings?
It's actually a pretty simple 3-step process. First, just identify the domain. Which suit is it? What area of your life is he ruling over right now? Second, assess the energy. Is he upright and helping, or is he reversed and causing trouble? And finally, you've got to connect it to your situation. Ask yourself, is this king representing an actual person in my life, or is he a reflection of my own energy?
At the end of the day, the kings force us to take a hard look at power in our own lives. Is it being used to build people up, or is it being used to tear them down? So the next time you see a king in your spread, ask yourself that question. Is this a wise ruler I can learn from, or is this a tyrant I need to stand up to? The answer will tell you exactly what you need to do next.